What is up, everybody? You're very welcome back to LeedsBros for your Wednesday night broadcast. Hope everybody is keeping and doing well. And the international break from today, I'm just deciding today, lads, is officially over. I'm done with it, especially with the Republic of Ireland as well. If anyone watched the Republic of Ireland match last night, horrendous. But we're here to break down all things Leeds United. We actually have a bit to get through. There is a little bit to talk about. We're going to talk about Sean Longstaff, him getting September Player of the Month. So we'll speak about him. We'll talk a little bit about the Leeds players that were away on international break, how they got on. And no better man to tell us about that. Jam is joining us well, so he can tell us about the Welsh lads, how they got on over the international break. We're also going to speak a little bit about Leeds United Sporting Director Adam Underwood. He has come out and spoke about his vision for Leeds United going forward. We're going to talk a little bit about Largy Ramazani, Jayden Bogle with a possible new role, in my opinion. Want to get your guys' thoughts on it. And then, of course, a load of fixture changes for Leeds United as well in December. So absolutely loads to get through, loads to unpack. As always, guys, make sure you're dropping a like on the video. And if you're new here, of course, we would love you to hit that subscribe button as well. We're joined by the brother Dylan. And as I said, Jam, boys, how are we?
Yeah, all good, yeah, mate. All good, yeah, boys. Literally, I think I'm just rearing to go now for Leeds United to come back because, obviously the international break hasn't really been kind to Wales. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing the boys back in action on Saturday. We're all good, yeah, lads.
Good, great to hear, Jam. We will dig a little bit deeper into the Welsh side of things and get more. I won't speak too much about the result because I know that one's still hurting you, but we'll talk about the Welsh lads and how they got on overall. Dylan, how are you keeping? Haven't spoken in a good while. You are missing during the international break.
Yeah, it's just the international break, lads. I've no interest. I'm being honest with you, and I'm sorry for anyone that is watching the Republic of Ireland. I'd rather watch paint dry. I'm being completely honest.
Last night was bad.
I don't mean to be, put down. I never did. Don't get me wrong. When the World Cup comes up or the Euros, I would watch it. But
bandwagon jumps on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I do. I'm an armchair supporter. Yeah, that's what I am. So yeah. Other than that, but just can't wait for Leeds to come back. These weeks are just dragging in, and every time, say the second last match for Leeds or the last match when we know we're going into an international break. I always say to myself, I'm dreading this. It's like going summer holidays and then going back to school. That's what it's like for me every single time.
There's only another one around the corner as well in November. It'll only feel like we're back into the run of things again, and to be another one now in November as well. So we'd say hello to a couple of people that have dropped into the building. Danny Rumsey is here. He says smash a like and subscribe. Please do that. That would be fantastic. Amy Clark is here as well. She says evening, Amy. Danny says Republic of Ireland on par with San Marino. I think you're right there, buddy. Given that showing last night, we're very, very lucky to beat 10 men Armenia. Danito is here. He said, good evening, morning, bros, and all evening, buddy. Thanks for popping in. And Lynette is here as well. She says, evening, lads, evening, Lenny. So, Jam, yeah, we're going to pass it over to you. Obviously, as you said, Wales, not a great international break for them. They're obviously about 4-2 by Belgium in a big game on Tuesday night. But Joe Rodon did score for Wales. Cracking header. Good to see him back on the score sheet. But you were obviously at the game. Looked like a cracking atmosphere. But the Leeds lads themselves, Rodon, Ampadu and Darlow, how did they get on?
Yeah, so, again, you nail on the head. The atmosphere was great to start with. I mean, they were well up for it, and as a perfect start, Rodon gets up and scores a header. And I have to be honest, lads, Rodon I thought was our best player on the night. He was outstanding, and put into context, saying to you, Daz, earlier, I think even yesterday, he's playing. And no offense to him, he's playing against a centre back who plays for Swansea City. There's only so much he can do himself. Ethan Ampadu again, I thought he was solid. I thought he played about a bit, and he's exactly what we needed in there. I actually felt like he was a real calming presence in the midfield for us at times, because I think the way that Bellamy set us up, I think he kind of wanted us to go for the jugular straight away. But sometimes, what Ampadu does, he does quite slow the game slows the game down quite well. So I think that's actually what was needed the other night. But I don't know. I got to be honest, lad. I did feel for him a little bit. I don't think he was at fault really for many of the goals. I mean, his two penalties. The one was debatable, to be honest. Again, it's harsh, probably as a penalty though. At the end of the day, the second goal, I think he connects to it well. They fall back Mounier, and he puts it, well past Darlow. So again, you can give him a little bit of leeway there. The third is another penalty. Kevin De Bruyne takes these penalties. He's not missing them very often. And then the fourth goal, then I don't think you can really blame him. The defending was actually shambolic, if I'm being honest. We come back 3-2. And then we, right in the game, 5 minutes left. What do? Concede straight away, and our left back is, back in Coventry with Frank Lampard. So, I mean, yeah, overall, lads, I got to be honest. If you look at it as a Welsh fan, from concepts wise, you just think of it looking, Darlow again. He wasn't at fault for any of it. Rodon. I mean, everybody around me in the stadium, lads, was singing Rodon's praises, saying that he's just unbelievable. And he's gone from strength to strength. I think he's just getting better and better, which is lovely for us to see as Leeds fans. Yeah, but yeah, I've given you a little monologue there, lads, of the game itself. I was just sat there thinking, talking to my friends, and it was amazing to see Rodon really flourishing. And you can tell he's an actual leader now in the Welsh team as well. Whereas before, maybe there's more experienced players like Ramsey and Joe Allen and all them players that took over. But you can see now with him and Ampadu, I think that's the spine of the team now, and Darlow as well in goal. So from a Leeds perspective, I can't complain, boys, to be honest.
Yeah, so I watched both of the Welsh games as well, and I actually do think they were very good. Look at against England. Look at you know what you get. Look at England. They were cracking side there, bags of talent. But really watching them against Belgium, was really looking forward to seeing them against Belgium. Obviously, Rodon gets the goal, so delighted for Wales, and obviously delighted for Rodon. And I think agree what you said as well. And I don't think you can blame Darlow for any of the goals that went in. It was just poor defending, wasn't it? Of course, he's the last line of defence. And then I thought Ampadu had a really good game as well. And like a lot of our players that were away in international duty as well, had some good results, some bad. Yacobial obviously had 2 clean sheets, really good performance, 2 really good performances as well, looked absolutely fantastic. So he's had to get minutes in the tank, which is obviously quality. El Tanaka his way with Japan, they were 2-0 down against Brazil, came back and won 3-2, and he got 15 minutes, so well needed minutes for him. And Ilya Gruev as well, he played, he got 90 minutes under his belt. Brendan Aronson played last night for the US men's national team as well. He's on his way back as well. So hopefully, obviously, tomorrow is Daniel Farke's press conference at 1:30. Fingers crossed all the players have came back okay. None of them are carrying knocks. And hopefully we get a bit of good news that we know we have Lucas Perry eventually back into the squad. And also the big one with Willie Gnonto as well. We know Dan James is still another couple of weeks away. But the international break is finally over, lads. As I said, good couple of results for our Leeds players, and then not so good results as well. So thankfully it is over. Dylan's delighted over there in the corner, and we're back to the real stuff, as I said, tomorrow when Daniel Farke does.
I love how you didn't actually ask me any questions about international break, and it's great.
There's no point. There's no point. That's why I got jam. That's why I got jam on tonight.
Yeah, dead right. Yeah, 110% right. You know what? I seen the goal, Rodon's goal, and I have to say, he's really bringing that to his game. That's the only thing I can say. As I said, I didn't watch the game to watch a few highlights, etc. I've no interest, and I'm just telling you how it is. That's no point of being in it.
It's great though, lads. Cause it's great though, because like when Rodon scored, I had like this big sense of pride. Like, he plays for Leeds, it's like I said, it's
my boy. That's mine. He's mine.
That's what he does with it. But again, Rodon, I think he's brilliant. Simply
he stepped up big time, lads. He's obviously been brilliant since he came to Leeds. His consistency as well, I think he's on the verge of being clicks record as well for consecutive games, and to see him adding goals to the game is something that we've all called for, especially last season. We were calling for him to add goals to the game, and he's doing that now as well, and he looks a threat from set pieces as well, so long may it continue. And again, his overall play, I think he's improving as well. His passing was something that we spoke about a lot, lads, didn't we? Especially to start of last season in the championship, we spoke about Rodon's passing at times was a little bit too heavy, 5 yards behind the player, 5 yards in front of the player, never really seemed to get it right, and he seems like he's really after cleaning that side of the game up. So yeah, fantastic, absolutely brilliant.
I just think for me, real quick, before we move on, with Rodon, I don't know about you, like anyone else that played for Leeds in the centre half position at times, and not everyone, you feel so nervous, similar to what we seen with Melier last season in there, let's be honest. So Rodon, you're so comfortable, there's no panic, my heart isn't racing, you're going to say it's calm and composed, and he's just Mr. Consistent. And to be honest with you, I think we really have a good player in there. Really good player. And he's only starting to shine.
For only 11 million as well, lads. It's a brilliant boy when you look at it now, the consistency. Like, I think we've got that 11 million back.
We've seen Richard Hogan, to improve. He would be vice captain. Like, he's actually shown that bit of side as well, If he gives a clearance, you see him roaring, he's getting the fans up. He has that
emotional, kind of isn't he, as well? Yeah,
exactly. That's it there. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. 100%. We'll get through a couple of comments before we move on to the next one. Matty from Imagine Not Being Leeds is here. He says, a handsome Welshman and 2 handsome Irishmen walking into a bar, and I said, hey boys. Thanks very much for popping in, Matty. What else have we got here? Richard Hogan is here. He says, Jam, who was the James guy on the left for Wales? Might have come in the second half.
You're on about, I think you might be on about Jordan. Is it Jordan James?
Jordan James,
Yeah,
yeah.
he started the game with it was him and Amadou in midfield, and he was the one who gave away the third penalty actually, and he just went like that with the ball. So it's blatant as it comes, but he was again young lads, very naive. But yeah, that's Jordan James. I think he plays for. He's on loan at Leicester City at the moment in the Championship. So yeah,
class. Yeah, no, he does
Championship
look like a
like
good
that.
player now. In fairness, when I first seen it real quick, when the Welsh lineup came out, I looked and I seen James. I was like, nah, that has to be a misprint. And I was like, oh no, it's not Jordan James. But I was like, Dan James. I was like, what? Like, how's he back? How's he all of a sudden back with it? He's meant
I
to be able
think
to
he
lap
thought he
it.
was playing rugby lads in the Principality. I think that's what he thought when he did that. I don't know what he was doing, but yeah, it is what it is.
Right, let's move on then and talk about Leeds United sporting director Adam Underwood, who has eventually opened up after the transfer window, the international break. International break on my mind. After the transfer window, obviously we did hear from Robbie Evans just as a close. It felt like he was covering for his man a little bit when he came out and obviously said about PSR. But he did do a sit-down interview with BBC today. He spoke about Leeds United's vision, what they're trying to do at Elland Road, the vision that they have to try and kind of copy what some of the other Premier League clubs have done. So I'm going to read out a couple of the quotes that he has said. I won't read them all out because it is a bit of an article, and then we'll discuss it. And as always, guys, want your thoughts in the comments below, and then the boys' thoughts as well. So the first part, he goes on to say there are a number of clubs like Brentford and Brighton that are in the bracket who have an excellent base to which they run their football and operations off. Everyone is aware how to use the data to be competitive and advantage and recruit really well, and the evidence is there for all those clubs. I'm sure that has helped them to sustain them in the Premier League and help them grow and to continue to be successful. We know as a Championship club promoted to the Premier League, it is a huge task to buck the trend of 6 clubs over the past 2 years that come up and gone straight back down. Look at other clubs across the Premier League. What did they do and how well did they do it and what did they manage to do to achieve it? What have they achieved in staying up? So he's obviously looking at the Brentford model, saying obviously what they done, how well they've recruited. Obviously, we know with Thomas Frank, the job that he's done there is a massive part of it as well. But their recruitment obviously has been very good. And he mentioned Brighton there as well, who we know Brighton are probably the best at it, of picking absolute gems from across Europe and seem to sell them to Chelsea for hundreds of millions of pounds. And it seems to have made them very successful. So Adam Underwood speaks about that vision for Leeds United and wanting to grow and then push on to be one of the big boys in the Premier League, then into the top 10 and on. And of course, we all want that as well. But Jam, we'll pass it over to you and get your thoughts on it. Obviously, we there's no point of running back over the transfer window. We know what we done well, we know what we done wrong. But the model that Leeds United have, the likes of what Brentford want now, I think Brentford, we'll have to see how that one goes. They might have sold a little bit too much this summer, but the likes of the Brighton model, if Leeds are going to follow that would be one that I want. What about you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think I even said, at the end of last season when promotion was confirmed, I think that's exactly what we need to be following. The Brighton and Brentford models, because like you said, Brighton have got that talent of just literally finding this talent, abroad and selling it, like Saicedo, for example. Look how much they sold him to Chelsea for, and they got real goods. I think it's just the chairman as well. He seems to be really committed, and I think he's a bit of a fan as well of the club, Brighton, I believe, Tony Bloom. So I think that sort of helps them in that respect. That you can just see what a bit of stability can do to clubs. Now, I don't want to bring any other club in, but if you look at Man United, for example, what a car crash that has been over the number of years. So you can have the household name, you can have all this. If you haven't got the right people, at the helm of the club, then you're gonna end up failing. But yeah, Brentford, again, I think they probably have maybe sold a bit too much this season, if I'm being completely honest, and they probably haven't, replaced them. But Brighton, I think, is definitely the one I would be looking at and following and see how they do things. Because even when their managers, go other clubs, you've seen Graham Potter go to the Chelsea, didn't work out from there, but they brought in Kusler, they brought in De Zerbi. Over the years, they've brought in the right managers as well. Again, it's not me saying I want any Farker out or anything, but they bring in the right people, don't they? If your manager's not doing exactly what he needs to be doing, then they've got like a short list of people. They bring him in straight away, and the playing side, again, Underwood, he's saying the right things, which is exactly what we want. But also, we were let down in the transfer window at the end, I believe, just gone. So hopefully now they can deliver. Like I said, I've never been more confident, lads, in an ownership with Leeds United. They seem to be saying the right things, and they do deliver in all fairness. So yeah, watch this space definitely. And like I said, I'll say it again. Let's get the passports ready because I think that's where we're heading eventually, hopefully to Europe. So
Hopefully, Jam.
yeah.
Hopefully, you're right. Yeah, Dillo, what about you? The model that Adam Underwood is talking about. Obviously, he got a big backlash after this transfer window about obviously people saying about his the experience that he has there in the sporting role, but obviously he's been promoted from within. He's worked with academy players. Is it too big of a role for him? Is his vision of what he wants Leeds United to be, like the Brentfords, your Brightons, Richard Hogan mentioned there, Bournemouth as well. It shouldn't be really that too far off. It's obviously just recruiting smartly, isn't it? And then obviously selling them on for biggers and kind of keeping that cycle going.
It's just literally just like recycling, yeah. You hit the nail on the head. I'm kind of going to go back to when we were up in the Premier League the first time and then when we went down. Forest, for example, you look at them now, and I know they've kind of slipped up a little bit here and there, but I mean, they've kind of established themselves to be this kind of good competing club, and similar to, as you said, they're Brighton and Brentford. And, we should have done that first time around. Clearly we didn't, and then we had to regroup and go again. But I don't think, he's coming out saying this now for the simple fact, for the noise that's been around Leeds United at this time and present. And yeah, whatever happened in the transfer window, we leave it. It's in the bed now. Leave it there. Don't look back at it. But I think it's ambition. That's the way he should be looking. I think it's important for us to look at the near future. As Jam said, there, get the passports ready. I know, we're all kind of jumping ahead. I'm not saying we need to be in Europe by next 2-3 seasons, but I mean that sort of narrative for the club to go forward in, whether it is buying players, selling them for a higher value, or just the youth program itself. But this all started, and let's be honest with you, from one man, and that was Marcelo Bielsa. And it seems to be now it's just going gradually up. Whether it's the youths, whether it's the, obviously the expansion of Elland Road. It's all about noise around Leeds and bringing everyone together, making a hype of it, and hopefully we can do that. And for him to get the promotion, Adam Underwood, to, a stepping stone when he started off to where he is now, it's like anything. It's similar to a professional footballer, if he's going to get minutes or not, or if he's going to start the game. And that's the way I look at it. And he's clearly done a good job so far. So hopefully it'll continue.
I think the players, Dylan, like that we have brought in, there's no denying that there is some good players there. Look, we haven't yet to see Bial, Borneo, and obviously the injury to Lucas Perry. But if you look at the players that Leeds have recruited, your Longstaff will speak about him, obviously getting September Player of the Month. You look at your Anton Stack as well, is doing fantastically well. Calvert-Lewin is doing bits at the minute. Obviously, we need his injury side of things to hold up good months. And so there has been really good recruitment there with the players that we have got in. There's absolutely no denying that. There just wasn't enough of it, Dylan. That's what my plan is, and I wouldn't solely blame Adam Underwood. It's a recruitment team. It's not Adam Underwood didn't solely, this whole thing. There's a complete team behind it where they should have been looking at the finance side of things, and I think possibly they would have thought that might have been a bid coming in for a few of our players. We thought it as well. We spoke halfway through the transfer window that we might see one big kind of outcome. We were talking about Pascal Stroke, we were talking about Ilya Gruev, there was some murmurs about Tanaka as well, and I think the club probably felt the likes of that as well, and the likes of, your Bamford, you might have got a bid in for him so you could sell him and get a bit of profit back from Elan Melier, and it just never materialised, Dylan, and that's why I think it just wasn't enough of it. It was very good, the players we did get in so far, that's what it looks like, but again, Jam, it just feels like there wasn't enough of it towards the end of it.
That's the thing, yeah. And like you said there, boys, I mean, at the end of the day, he's the one that's going to be getting the flack just because his name is next to the title of director of football, head of recruitment, sporting director. Sorry, yeah, that's what, and he has to take it. So, but what obviously, mine and Dillo's thoughts on it. But what's your thoughts on his vision, Underwood's vision, and that kind of thing?
Yeah, look, I think we did hear similar about Radrazani. We're going to speak a little about Radrazani as well, and obviously his potential return to Elland Road for the West Ham game. But I think Radrazani and Orta and Kinnear sold us the same thing as well. So this is why I'm kind of a little bit on the fence with this one to see if we, can fulfill this promise. Because at the time, Radrazani was saying we were looking at the Leicester model. that's what he was very much basing his ownership of Leeds of. Similar thing as well, getting, you know, players who aren't really like household names, getting them to play football, selling them on for more money and recruiting very well. And as I said, just keeping that conveyor belt going. So that's what Leeds United need to do. But it all comes down to really, really smart recruitment, and that's obviously a massive side of football now, is getting recruitment right. Every football club has that battle against it, and there's other clubs that do it really well. And said Brighton for me is probably one of the best from a club over the years. When we were, you know, down in the doldrums of League One, they were down there with us, probably the bottom half of League One, and you know they're torn over to get up to the Premier League to be an established Premier League club. Your Bournemouths are there now as well. Your Brentford are very much there. Fulham have clawed their way back as well. So it can be done, but it's solely just down to recruitment, lads. And there's times you can have a plan in place, like I'm sure we did this summer, but there's times that plan doesn't work. So it just depends. You need a little bit of luck to go with it as well.
It's like that though, with the Mez situation with Ober. You know, you go back to Tyler Adams, you go back
going
to
out on loans and all.
You know, Christensen. That's it, Darren. And I think that for me, I know it probably sounds a bit silly. It's like a negative impact on the club, and I'm not saying that in a way like, oh, this player doesn't want to play for Leeds or he's no good. It's literally just freeing up them slots that, you know, for PSR reasons.
Yeah,
I think that's
100%.
simply where we're at. And if we can get rid of that, no disrespect. Look, to me, I don't really rate Wower whatsoever. Good luck. I have no interest whatsoever. And then the same thing with Mez. But the problem is now with the Mez situation, he's not playing. So how is he going to hold his value if he's not playing? So
well, he's free to go in the summer, Dylan. So you're hoping. Danny's saying there, I don't think Mez goes in January. I think the club have to do absolutely everything to try and get him to go in January to get some sort of fee. It didn't make any sense not letting him go in the summer, and we can't have another one, lads, on our books that we're just letting go for nothing. Who was, you know, a Premier League goalkeeper, and now, you know, we're letting him go for nothing. So it won't make sense recruitment wise. He should have went in the summer. If any bid came in from the summer, he should have went. You look back at the Joseph thing now as well, and I was one of them saying send him out on loan and see how he gets on. You know, maybe we should have took that, you know, 5 to 6 million off Real Betis and kind of cut our ties with him as well. So it's one of them, like the outgoings we spoke about, and you know, there's no point to keep going back over it, is that we had a plan in place. I think the outgoing side of things, that's what really slowed us down. That was our Achilles heel towards the end, and I think we would have got them one or two in the door if we had seen a couple of more of them fringe players, because there is still a lot of very championshipy below Premier League level, in my opinion, still knocking about the squad that shouldn't really be here, that should have been moved on in the summer.
I think we're going in the right direction anyway, that's for sure. You know,
it takes time, Dylan. You can't all do it in one window. So you'd hope in January that these players will come to some sort of agreement that they do want to go play football as well. Like the likes of your Melier that knows he's not going to get back into this team. You know, with Perry there now as well, Carl Darlow, really good performance. You still have Cairns and backup there as well. So, yeah, look, I'd be happy to kind of let Melier go. Like the Volvo one, Dylan, you mentioned there as well, going on loan. Like, could we not have to just agreed a fee with him? Exactly. Isaac Smith, you know, for me, he's not at the required level in the Championship, never mind the Premier League. Can we not agree a deal for him? Patrick Bamford, could we not have found someone that wanted to buy him for $500,000, maybe let him go? It's all the outgoing side of it, Dylan. That's what, and we probably... I would have done it differently. I would have tried to flip it on the head and try and clear the deck first before we got the new lads in. That's what would have liked to happen, instead of getting all the new lads in and then trying to force the deadwood out then when it was coming down to the Premier League. Because realistically, then you look at these players, they're playing for Leeds United, playing in the biggest league in the world. You know, what is kind of their enticement to move on elsewhere? You know, if they're going to drop down divisions, you know, or go somewhere else where, you know, the quality isn't as high, or wages and stuff like that as well. So there's a lot of parts to this jam, isn't there? That, you know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But if you sell, like you said, like nail on the head, if you sell straight away, you sell the players, you know exactly what money you can use then as well, can't you? You know, if you can have a bit more, I don't know, for example, you know, it's not saying this exact figure, but like an extra 50 million on top of your 100 million. You sold players at the start of it. I'm not saying we'd get 50 million, but it's just an example. Then you get that figure, then you know exactly what you play, you know what you're spending. And yeah, a few things I'm hoping that Underwood really sort of learns from at the end of this window, that, you know, you can't be leaving it to the last day again. And, you know, it's just, that's obviously something that he needs to learn. I'm sure he will learn. It's going to be a good experience for him. So I'm willing to give him a bit more, you know, a bit of time, leeway and stuff. So there's a lot of people that speak really highly of him as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Totally agree, yeah. Richard Hogan has a comment here. He says, we needed 10 million from those squad players to add another player in the right wing number 10 position. There were no takers for these players, which is frustrating, and I agree as well. And you're probably looking at the likes of your Harrison there as well. You know, could we not have to try and he didn't really want to be here when he first came back. I'd try to move him on. There's loads of them you can pick and choose, and some people agree, some people will disagree as well. I think we'll move on from the transfer window, lads, because it's just pulling me back down a rabbit hole of it all as well. Let's move on then, and let's talk about Sean Longstaff. So we did get a little bit of word before we went live here that he has been named Leeds United September Player of the Month. And I don't know about you guys, I don't know about you in the chat, but I 100% agree with this. I think he's been absolutely fantastic when called upon. Obviously, we know the injuries from Ampadu and Tanaka. He gets his opportunity. He's grabbed it by the scruff of the neck, and he's been absolutely fantastic, Dylan, hasn't he, Sean Longstaff?
Unbelievable there. Absolutely unbelievable. And I love that as well that you mentioned there with Ampadu getting injured, for him to come in straight away and hit the ground running. And that's what he's done. Simple as that. And, you know, we go back to when we did sign him. A lot of people were saying it felt like an underwhelming signing, etc. And I remember watching the Newcastle documentary a few years ago, and you know he was really around the community and being a Newcastle lad, and I was looking at it in a way of, you know, similar to Calvin Phillips, what we had, and it's nice to see that bit of bite that he has, and he certainly has that with the goal that he's scoring, the play, breaking up in midfield. He's just been absolutely unbelievable. There's no other way around it, lads, and definitely he deserves it. 110%. I think he's just been, I don't even know what to say.
He's everything, Dylan. I think we as Leeds United fans epitomise as a midfielder. He has the tenacity about him, puts the tackles in, puts hard tackles in, gets the crowd up, and also score goals as well, Jam. He's been a breath of fresh air. When really he came in, there was questions. Really, there was questions about Sean Longstaff coming in, but look at 170 odd appearance for Newcastle United, play Champions League football, comes in with bags of experience. We'd hear a couple of things, especially against Bournemouth, of him telling the players not to respect him too much, get stuck in. He seems like a real presence around the place as well, and it looks like a fantastic signing.
Yeah, I think again, you know, you can see all these players that were signing for millions and millions of pounds, and you know they probably take the limelight of it all. But if you look at it, I mean, it's probably easy to say now, but I think he is probably going to be one of our signings of this season, because I mean, like you lads touched on that experience that he brings, Champions League experience, Premier League experience, and also I like that. So I do sort of look at him when he's playing the game, and you can see he's a bit of a leader as well. That's what I can see from you know all the players are around him, and he's getting ramped up, and I love that from a Leeds United player. That's exactly what we need. We need more, you know, just because Ampadu's got the armband, or you know, if Rodon's vice captain or Strouk or whatever. You need 11 leaders out there, really, boys. You know, to try and get the team pushing forward. But yeah, I really like Longstaff. He's an honest, hard-working boy, and I think he probably doesn't get the credit he deserves for his technical ability either. You know, I do think he's technically a very good player as well. So yeah, and I think another thing for me, which is great, is basically you can see he's enjoying it at Leeds as much as he is for Newcastle. You know, he's not just there just to sort of make numbers up. He's there whenever he's there. He's to be playing 100%. And as fans, lads, that's all we want. So, yeah, long-winded answer about Longstaff, but I just wanted to have a little bit of a thing about him because, you know, I think he really does deserve it, because I think before the season, everyone was like, he's a bench player. Well, hang on a minute. Look at the you know, experience he brings with him. So, you know, credit
and that's it. Look at Tanaka now as well. Tanaka obviously has a fight in his hands to try and get back into this team. He's obviously backed himself. He spoke when he was away with Japan about his frustration a little bit, like we all wanting to get back into this Leeds United side. And for me, you're not taking Ampadu out of the squad because he's been absolutely brilliant this season. Longstaff speaks for herself, getting player of the month for September. And then you look at Stack as well, who's arguably been, you know, fantastic sign, was dropped off a little bit the last two games, but it's fantastic to see, lads. And Dylan, we always speak about it as rotation of the squad. It's a massive thing. It's something that you probably always say, Dylan. Anyone that watches LeedsBros, Dylan's a big believer in rotating that squad, Dylan, and I think now is Fark's time to start doing it. He does need to start rotating a little bit with that quality we have there, you know, to be able to say start Tanaka against Burnley, you know, and then Longstaff Stack comes in then against West Ham United. It's real good options in that midfield, and it's a credit to Longstaff coming in, because like what Jam said there, a lot of people would have thought that he would have been that bench player, you know, to kind of bring on, but he's nearly one of the first teams on the lineup sheet every week now.
Well, I think everyone going to assume that. I did as well. Like last season, we were all saying the first person to go into that team was Tanaka. You know, and obviously Ampadu as well, and that partnership with Stack being, I know he has dropped off, but he still has that quality. You know, he has that bite about him. But yeah, Darren, it's the rotation. You can't get enough of it. I think with players, every single player on the bench and every single player that's in the starting 11 should be rotated. young or older. It doesn't make a difference.
Pep's a master at it as well, Dylan, isn't he? He always does it, doesn't he? Rotates to keep them all fighting, to keep them all fresh.
That's what you want. That's what you want, a fighting chance, and to know where everyone stands. Look, I don't know about you lads. I don't want to be this type of club to know and predict we start in 11 week in, week out. If I was a manager and seen someone shining, someone that you wouldn't normally would start and does unbelievable in training or just, really improved, and they start, everyone's kind of going, he's starting him. Well, I don't want it to be as such thing as an injury for someone to come in, is what I'm trying to say. And unfortunately, that's what happened with the reason why Longstaff came into the team. But it's great. It's absolutely great to see that the boys still have that kind of flair about them and the hunger. What's not to like about it? And you go to the wing position. Jesus, wing position.
Who are you ringing at?
I think that's something we're a bit light on. If we can improve on that, obviously in January. Yeah. But I mean, the midfield, literally, and pun intended, I've said before, is stacked, and it's great. It's unbelievable to see. I just can't get enough of it. Now, every single one of them players in the midfield, from Ampadu to Stack, Longstaff, even down to Gruev, lads, they all have their own individual play, and it's different horses for different courses, as we said loads of times, and rotation. But at the same time, if we're winning, you ain't going to change a winning side. So
winning side, yeah, absolutely, yeah. We'll get into a couple of the comments. BMG says here, it's clear that transfer windows these days are a balancing act between incomings, outgoings, loans, wages, etc. So it's hard to get out 100% right. One problem was lack of sellable players. And I think we agree. I think we all agree with that. I think that's the nail on the head with that one. Seamus Durkin says, evening bros, enjoying the content as always. MOT. Thanks very much for your kind comment, Seamus. Really do appreciate that. Big supporter of the channel now for a good while. Thanks very much, Seamus. Richard Hogan says, Longstaff starts just for his free kicks and corners alone. I think I'd agree with that as well. His set pieces has been brilliant as well. Something that we didn't touch on there with that as well. He's been brilliant from his set pieces. And Pierre says, I am pleased, didn't want Longstaff, but certainly has proved me wrong. He does well. Leeds does well. Absolutely, Pierre. I agree with you. And I think you're probably right to have that question mark, Pierre. Look, probably half of the Leeds fan base did when he was brought in. So you're 100% right. But as you said, he's definitely proved a lot of people wrong. BMG says, a few of the potential struggles made similar signings, got Longstaff, Sunderland, got Xhaka, Brentford, got Henderson. Unexciting but experienced players. Important to have a player like that. And I think so as well. I think so. A lot of Leeds players a lot of Leeds fans were turning their nose up to Granite Xhaka. I absolutely wouldn't have been. I thought he would have been a fantastic signing because we needed experience. It's something we spoke about over the summer, lads, wasn't it? That this team needed Premier League experience, and we've got that in Longstaff. Marching on with Sean says, Longstaff is brilliant. Stack struggled the last few games. I dropped Tanaka for Stack and dropped Pascal for Billy B.
Shawnee. He's dropping Tanaka.
No, I mean I think he's gonna. I think what he means is he's gonna bring Tanaka in for Stack, Dylan. So I think he's gonna drop Tanaka in. I thought
you said he dropped Tanaka.
I don't think he will.
Point, boys. That's a good talking point that Sean just mentioned there about Beale, because there's been a lot of talk because Beale played very well, didn't he, for Slovenia the other day against Switzerland, and can't remember what the other team was in Kosovo. I think he got
Kosovo. Yeah, it was Kosovo. Yeah, spot on. Yeah.
Would you again? I know we're big Pascal fans, but would you potentially bring Beale in instead of him? That's for both of you. What's your thoughts?
I don't think so. I think there's probably a little bit of fark in me psyche here as well. There's a part of me that wants to see Beale. There is, after watching him for Slovenia, he is a good defender. He's solid. He's rock hard. He's brilliant at the back there. I do think he would be a very good partnership with Rodon. But I think if you're taking Pascal out of the side now, after, let's be honest, lads, the two mistakes and deflected goals against Spurs were very, very unfortunate. On another day, they deflect off Stroke when they go out for a corner, and then we're hailing them as two fantastic blocks in the game. Goal scoring opportunities that he blocks away. So he didn't do anything wrong in the game. It wasn't like, he was atrocious. He was falling over. His pass was wrong. He wasn't tracking his man and all that sort of stuff you'd expect from a centre half. So I don't think he is going to be dropped. And I think there's a part of me, obviously, that wants to see BR play because he's the new toy and we haven't seen him yet. I just don't think it's the right time to do it just yet. But I would like to see him, against Burnley. If it is going okay, you'd like to think it is. Maybe bring him in then and kind of ease him in. I think right from the very start, I think it might be a little bit of a gamble, especially because we're going through a decent enough period at the minute. It's not like we're getting walloped and, we've been hammered in the last couple of games and you're like, right, there needs to be a shake-up now and we're leaking goals all over the place. At the minute, I think it's fine, lads. I don't think change it just yet. Look, I could be saying something completely different after the Burnley game if we do lose that and leak a couple of goals and you're saying bring them all in. But I think right now at this minute, I wouldn't be changing it yet. The one that I probably would change would be Tanaka for Stack just for this game against Burnley. I would, just because Stack has been a little bit off at the last two games. I'd like to see Tanaka get a little bit of game time back in there, and again kind of see how he gets on for an hour or the 70 minutes with what you see with usually with Fark and his substitutions, and then possibly then against West Ham, then you bring Stack back in, and then Tanaka comes back out, and it keeps two of them chomping at the bit, then trying to get into that team, and then the performance levels naturally will rise if he knows if I don't perform in this game against Burnley, Stack is going to have my short in the next game, so I really need to up my levels, and I think it's up to Fark now to pip them players against each other that he knows are all chomping at the bit. So that goes for your Strike, your Bial, your Lucas Perry, your Carl Darlow, your Stack, your Tanakas. Pip them up against each other when they come back. If Aronson is going to be staying out on the right wing, well, then pip him up against Dan James. Have these little competitions going on between each other, because naturally that's how your team and the level improves. So I don't think I would change too much against Burnley, lads. I don't, because I don't think it's detrimental at the minute, and we're not leaking goals. So I think the back line is perfect at the minute. The goalkeeper situation is an interesting one. I'm flip flopping on the goalie one. That's one that I'm not too sure about, because I think long term, do you bring Perry back in now in the away game and see how he gets on? Or I think if Perry's back on the bench and Darlow plays, well, then you're more or less saying, well, Darlow's going to be in long term, and unless he makes a massive howler. So I think the goalkeeper one is a bit of a bigger talking point than the centre half ones or the outfield positions for me. I don't know about you, lads.
Yeah, no, it's a good talking point that Sean brought. I just thought to mention it to you boys.
No, cracking, really good talking point.
Yeah, I don't think it will happen. I think Pass will stay in there, but yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. But Dillo, what do you think with that one?
There's a lot of games, lads. Yeah. I wouldn't be throwing them in the deep end as such, for someone to get a mad injury but as Darren said there, I have to agree, he hasn't done anything mad in order for him to drop his place. I think Stroke at times, I've said it before, if we're on the attack and on the upper hand, he plays so good. When we are struggling a little bit or we're down by a goal, you can see that he just panics under pressure. And I know people are probably saying, well, then that's the reason why you bring Bial in. Not necessarily, because I think at times it's going to be like that. It's football at the end of the day. You're going to, there's going to be own goals, there's going to be deflections, there's going to be all sorts. But it's just a long season. That's the way I'm looking at it. I think bringing even Bornau into the mix with Farcon back as well a couple of weeks ago and saying he just made the bench because there was no point of having two centre halves on the bench. So as Darren said there, you want these boys just fighting for their place week in, week out. That creates competition, and it creates as Darren said, their physique, their performance levels, everything just goes up skyrocket. And yeah, Darren, actually, I have to agree what you said there. I would definitely drop Stack and bring Tanaka in just for this game.
I wouldn't. I hate using the word drop, Dylan. I would more say use rotate, because I think drop feels like you've done something wrong and you're a ball boy in the corner. So I wouldn't say drop. I think rotate, Dylan. We spoke about it a little bit, and you're a big believer in rotating. Jam, you are as well. I think rotating, now's the time to start doing it now. Start using this squad a little bit more. Martin Sean says Bial's been playing in Italy, where Pascal's been playing in the Champo, and apart from one of the worst Leeds defences of the season when we got relegated. To be honest with you, Sean, I don't think it matters. I don't care if Bial has won a World Cup. I'm going off it right now, and I don't think things are that detrimental. I don't think Pascal Struijk has been, levels below, and he's not doing well there where it's enough to take him out of this team. As I said, two deflected shots off and where it could have went one way or another is the only reason you're taking him out of the squad. I think is a little bit mad at the minute, and I think it's just up to Bial to keep fighting, and if he's going to throw his toys out of the pram, well then he hasn't got the correct attitude. Then for me, he needs to keep fighting. He needs to wait for his opportunity, whether it comes after Christmas into the new year. It might come on the weekend. Whenever he gets that opportunity, take it. Again, Fark might have a completely different opinion, and he might say, no, I'm going to shake it up now, bring Bial in, bring Perry back in, bring Tanaka back in. That's fine. Absolutely. He's the manager. I can only go off my beliefs that I don't think Struijk has done that much wrong to warrant him coming out of the squad at the minute.
Lads, I actually have one for
No,
you.
that's
It's just
fine.
while we're on it there.
Go on, mate.
Sorry, Jan, for cutting across you. It's a bit of a mad one, right? And I'm not saying this because he's my boy, but is it a possibility to start rotating the striker position?
No.
I don't think so, Till. No.
Not from
Right,
the start.
for me, if DCL doesn't, let's say he has a similar game to what he against the lads, you know, he's getting in
Spurs.
the right areas. Yeah, he's getting in the right areas, etc. But there's still no goal, or he doesn't really add anything to it.
Yeah, Dylan, I still think he starts. I think it's his overall play, Dylan, because I think the way that we're looking to play now in the Premier League this season, you're not going to get that from Pirro, Dylan. You completely have to change the way you have to play, and I think you have to revert back to the 4-2-3-1 if you're going to bring Pirro back in. I don't think you can play the 4-3-3 with Pirro there, because you're going to get him dropping very deep, and then you have a very little focal point going forward, and then you naturally have the wingers being sucked back as well. So I think there is a place for Pirro in the squad, Dylan, and I think that's coming off the bench. We've seen that apart last season at the Championship when it was that ebb and flow between him and Joseph, and Pirro was coming on. But at the minute, Dylan, with Calvert-Lewin being fit, the performances that he's pulling in, and I think it's going to come good with the goals, because he's getting in them positions. He's had 5 big chances in the last 2 games. He needs to be putting them away, and I think he will. But again, a little bit like the stroke one, Dylan. I wouldn't be changing too much. It's not detrimental, lads. It's not throw everything out, rip it up, and start again, lads. I don't know whether the blinkers are on me, but
I'm not saying,
I don't think it. Jan, what about you?
Yeah. No, go on, boys. Go on, Del. Go on.
This leads me on to my next question, is what I'm trying to say. And Sean has literally just done it there. My point is here, I'm not saying we need to score every game. We can clearly see there's a problem with the top end of the pitch, of the ball going in the back of the net. Okay, and I know DCL is quality, he's getting the right areas, and he has a chance. But Sean hit the nail on the head here. How long do you have to give this boy? I'm not saying Pirro's going to do it either. I'm not saying just bring another striker in here and he's going to do it.
If he has another brilliant performance, like he done against Spurs, like he did against Bournemouth, that hold up play, bringing others into play and being our focal point to suck us up the pitch still. And if he has another good performance like that, he's withdrawn in the 70th, 80th minute, and then Pirro comes on and scores 2 goals. My opinion, I still start DCL against West Ham the following week.
Well, yeah, because you wore them down. I know what you're saying.
It's the exact same thing for me, because people are just seeing goals as a striker, and football has gone much more than that now. It's not the 4-4-2 like the way it used to be. Big man, small man, hit it long. It's a totally different game. It's evolving every season goes on. And with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the way that Daniel Farke has decided to play, the recruitment team, the way we've decided to play, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a massive part of the way Leeds United is playing. And I think you take him out of the squad at the minute, and he gets injured, Dylan, we have to completely change and shift the way that we're going to play football then as well, because you're not going to get that route in football. I think Meche can probably do it. He's a similar player to Calvert-Lewin, but not to the level. So I think if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is injured or isn't performing, I think you see Meche coming on before Pirro. That's my honest opinion.
I genuinely, just for this game alone, Burnley, I think it should be rotated. I'm being honest.
So you think Pirro starts? And
either Meche or Pirro. Either one.
You're correct.
I get your point. I get your point with it. I get your point there where you come in with this, because like
he's sipping on whiskey. He's sipping on whiskey here, lads, under the desk, lads.
I'm talking about rotation and competition for the team in general.
Yeah.
Just genuinely, how long does it take for DCL to get a goal? And that's the way that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, fair. And Richard Hogan says
I'm just a real big fan of. Sorry, go on. I keep cutting in, boys. Sorry.
I'll read this one, Jam, and then I'll bring you in. So Richard Hogan says, Darren, DCL needs to come good with the goals. He has missed opportunities, and he really needs to start scoring at the weekend. Yeah, and I agree. I don't disagree with Richard. He does need to start taking his opportunities. 100% he does. But I think it's the package. He offers a lot more. It's the same thing with Patrick Bamford as well. Patrick Bamford was missing chances after chances, but people were failing to see what he brought to the Leeds United side. And when Patrick Bamford was injured or brought out the team, you could see how we collapsed all around. So it's a team game. But I personally think Calvert-Lewin will come good. I don't think he's fully fit yet. I don't think he's fully fit and firing. And I hope he gets that. I hope he gets a goal the weekend and it can kind of kick him on. But as I said, at the minute, I don't think it's that detrimental to be chopping everything up and changing the whole thing. It's not that bad at the minute. Jam, go ahead.
Just lastly, and then let Jam go in. I just want to confirm, I am not saying DCL is bad, right? So Darren, don't start. Jam, don't wind me up. And everyone in the chat, don't wind me up. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm simply saying, as Darren said, I'm a big speaker on rotation in the squad. And that's simply what it is. That's it.
Danny wants to know how many glasses of Guinness has Dylan had. I'd like to be saying glasses and not points, because he knows he has glasses because he's home.
14.
Martin O'Mashon says DCL equals Bamford 2.0. He's not. He's not. He's much more
No.
Premier League experience and a much more rounded
Who's
player than what
not?
Patrick Bamford is. Start scoring goals, you get him anywhere near the level of what he was like under Angelotti. We have a really, really good player on our hands. I think we have to be a little bit realistic about it, lads. One more thing that I want to speak about the lineup going forward, lads, because I got thinking about it today, and again, you can push back and say no, but I want to think about just for this Burnley game. Obviously, we know the situation on that right hand side, with obviously Dan James being injured. Willie Nonto is supposedly being back for this game. This is what we're told before the international break by Daniel Fark. So fingers crossed tomorrow we get the good news. If he is fit, I don't think it's going to be fit enough for him to start. How fit is he? How many minutes can he play for us? It all depends on Saturday. But also you have the situation then with Brendan Aronson playing last night. Well, it was this morning for the US men's national team. He will be travelling back as well. It's a quick turnaround for him. Jet lag. He is obviously going to start the game against Burnley on the weekend, lads. Is there a conversation there to be had that Jack Harrison could possibly start the game against Burnley?
I'll be honest, boys. I can see Aronson's going to go straight back in.
No, I think so. I think so, Jam. My
Yeah.
worry is obviously I think this travel might be a lot for him. I don't think you're going to get...
Yeah.
You know, you're still going to get the running and the tenacity all of Aronson. I just like what level are you going to get out of him? I think that's a massive part of his game.
Yeah,
obviously, is getting about the pitch and being that Duracell bunny for us. I just worry with that traveling. Dylan, what about you for Aronson?
Yeah,
Excuse me.
I've been giving him a lot of slack lately, but he's really kind of proved me wrong. But it's an international break, lads. It's the same with Ampadu, Grue as well. Rodon, all the boys are going to be wrecked, but it's just Aronson because he has that bit more travelling to do. Is it a possibility Harrison comes in and I don't think Nanto's going to start, lads. He needs.
I can't see it.
So is it a possibility?
He needs game time, Dylan. Even if he is fully fit, even if he is physically fit, he's not match fit.
But could it be a possibility Okafor to go on the right?
I want to put something to you guys. I want to put something to the chat as well, and you can probably tell by the thumbnail. What about Jayden Bogle out onto the right hand side? Now, look at Aronson's going to start. Jayden Bogle moves up to the right wing. We know he's a most attacking player. He's very creative. We've seen some of the deliveries into the box that he's given us so far for DCL. We know he can create. We know he can score goals. And James Justin going to right back. Would that be an option? Now, look at realistically, Brendan Aronson is going to start the game against Burnley. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But as an option, with Willie Nonto not being fully fit, I don't like the idea of Jack Harrison being out on the right wing. Could that be an option for Daniel Fark to go down that route, push Bogle a little bit forward, and James Justin going into right back?
I love it.
I can see you thinking behind it. To be honest, again, I don't think it's a while to take this all because, Bogle's stats last season speak for themselves. The problem is, it's just not going to happen, is it? It's a good talking point again, it really is. But Bogle, I think, for me, boys, and I'll be honest, I know he got called out a lot from Sheffield United fans for it, but I actually think he's really good defensively as well, boys. I haven't seen enough of James Justin yet to be like, let's put him right back and then put Bogle favourite to sort of. I just don't think that's going to happen. Because Farker likes stability, doesn't.
No, that's what I don't.
Yeah,
think.
No, exactly. Yeah. I know you mean you just been talking about it.
Just think about over the international break. What else are you going to be doing? And you hear every Leeds fan saying that Jayden Bogle is our most attacking player. We see him getting forward. He's creative. He's delivering balls into the box. So you're thinking, well, how do we get a little bit more out of him? And then you think about what our fullbacks nowadays we've seen. And look at this is a wild example, but we've seen Gareth Bale start his career at fullback and naturally moving forward. You've seen it with fullbacks before and naturally moving forward. Trent is probably a big example of it as well. More of an attacker rather than a fullback as well. So my thinking of Jayden Bogle is if he can give us that going forward. Now look, it could be completely an absolute shit show, and he doesn't go well up there, but you see him getting forward. He creates, he scores goals. He knows this Leeds United side. That's what I'm saying, could that potentially be an option? And you have a right footer then out on the right hand side instead of bringing Jack Harrison on the left hand side and everything going real narrow then. So yeah, that's what I was just interested to kind of get your idea. Dylan, like what would you be? Well, obviously pull out.
I love it. I think look, be honest with you, it ain't gonna happen, but I do love it, Darren. I love that idea. I think that is a great idea simply because, as you said, Bogle has that kind of bite in between him. He's been getting goals, he's been assisting. He just gets in the right areas, whether it's the overlap or he cuts in the inside. The only negative thing, and I know BMG hates me being negative about it, is I've seen, and I'm going off the topic here of amateur, I started off as a right back originally, and I'm using me as an example here. And when I was not so good at it, when I was so familiar with it, when I did go out onto the right wing, I'm looking for the player in front of me. There's no one there. And we've seen that with Bogle at times. You know, he uses the winger in front of him for the tiki taka pass kind of narrative. Maybe that'll just catch him out a little bit. It certainly caught me out because I've no legs left. But I mean, I do like the idea behind it.
I just think he looks comfortable a lot further up the pitch. We've seen him a lot last season in the Championship. We seen him up there, especially coming towards the tail end of it. You know, we can see them intricate passes of play in and around the box as well, especially linking up with Pirro. And I think him and DCL, we've seen a partnership grow there as well. You can see him looking for them balls into the box at DCL. So I'm thinking if you have that a little bit further forward, especially against the likes of Burnley, where you think obviously this is a big opportunity for Leeds to go win the game. I think, you know, if we're playing your Liverpool's, Man City's, and, you know, I need a big six, so I definitely wouldn't be trying it. But I think there might be a little glimmer there where, like, I would like to see that and see how he gets on. But Jam says then it does solely come down to the other side of it, and haven't talked about the defensive side of it. James Justin, we haven't seen enough of him to know, is he going to be rock solid back there? You'd like to think he is, Jam, but again, that's probably the downside of it, is that you don't know what you're getting. You'll know what you're getting off Bogle, but what you're getting off James Justin.
Exactly, yeah. And that's me not dismissing the idea. I do really like the idea of Bogle going further forward. I just, for me, it's like a little niggly feeling of, I'm not sure what James Justin brings to the table just yet. But it's never a good thing to think about. You know, with this team, this is exactly what we're about, boys. Rotation, competition for places. So this is exactly the type of conversations that we need, and it's good that we're having them, because, you know, it shows that obviously, you know, we're looking for the best for Leeds United.
BMGs completely disagree. No chance Bogle plays right wing. Now someone else is on the Guinness. No, I don't think it's going to happen. I could see Bogle playing it. I could. I think he'd be very good at that right wing position, especially where we're at the minute now. If Dan James is available and Willie Nanto's available, I'm not even saying this. I'm not even thinking about this. It's not even in the sphere. But just of the way the right wing has been the last couple of matches, where Brendan Aronson flagging a little bit toward the end of the game, especially against the likes of Spurs, and you're bringing on Jack Harrison, who for me made no impact in the game whatsoever. So I'm trying to think, what are we going to do? What's going to make the most impact? And if you're bringing on a Willie Nanto that's not really fit, you know, in these types of games, I'm like, what's going to maximise Leeds United going forward? And I think that could be a route that we could go down. But it could be completely wrong. But I was just interested to get your guys' idea. Personally, I think I
like it. I have to be honest with you.
Richard Hogan agrees with how he goes. Darren, stop robbing my ideas as well. So there is other people thinking about this as well over this long international break. Danny says, smash a like and subscribe, guys. Please do that. Let's move on then, and let's talk about Largi Ramazani, who is not having the best of times of it, lads, over in Spain, which is obviously not great for Leeds United, regardless of what you think of Largi Ramazani going on loan or staying at Leeds United. He has picked up a quad injury over in training, and it's going to rule him out for the next 4 to 5 weeks, lads. So, Jam, obviously not great for these Leeds United players. We'll speak a little bit about Joseph as well, but Ramazani was obviously the big headlines on him going to Spain. I, for one, was one of them, don't let him go. He hasn't ripped up, you know, any carpets over there. It's not been a fantastic start for him. Now injured, not great for Leeds United either way.
No, that's the thing. You know, if we are letting him out low, we want him to perform in Spain. You know, we wanted to put those figures that, you know, are going to bring them. Even if you don't see him as part of your future plans, you know, you're looking to demand a fee then, aren't you, in the summer? Personally, though, for me, boys, I think, you know, you've got to be looking at. I really want Ramazani and Joseph to do well, because at the end of the day, we want their value to go, you know, to increase. We don't want them to completely flop, because at the end of the day, we're stuck with them then, you know, for the next 2 or 3 seasons, or however long their contracts are. So, unfortunate for Ramazani. I mean, I still believe there's a player in there. That's just my personal opinion. I do think he's a bit of X factor you can bring on, especially when you're chasing a goal or when you're looking to change the game. Unfortunate for him. This is what happens in football, boys. You know, you get injuries. Hopefully, you can just come back now and knuckle down and then start playing again. And listen, Valencia, they're a big team in Spain, and it's hard. It's hard for him to just make that impact that he needed. But time's needed for him. I'm not one of the slating players at all, to be honest, with regards to, you know, being out on loan, and because at the end of the day, we benefit from them doing well,
to do well,
wherever they are. So, you know, we can all sit here and say, you know, I knew he wasn't any good, but then we're the ones stuck with the wages. Then we're the ones stuck then with how we're going to bring PSR profits and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, you know, we'll see with Ramazani and Joseph, but yeah, they need to sort of put their ideas out, definitely.
Yeah, Dylan, what about you? Obviously, look what Jam touched on there. I'm very much now on the side of what this looks like for Leeds United, because we've seen this with a lot of them loan players that went there when we got relegated from the Premier League. A lot of them didn't rip up, any books. They weren't fantastic. We got a lot of these players back. We don't want to see a similar situation with this with Ramazani. We need him to go over there, perform well. Similar with Joseph, all the players that have gone out on loan. One, to either come back to Leeds United and make an impact, or two, to sell them on for a profit. So, not good for Leeds United, but you will have a certain section of the fan base that will want to turn around and point fingers at the ones that said they didn't want Ramazani to go, say, haha, told you so. Because we've seen it, and we've seen other creators do it as well, saying, haha, told you so, which for me doesn't really make sense, because you're basically just going against what's the best for the football club.
Well, I genuinely would rather Ramazani being here. I think we can all agree with that, to a certain, especially
At
with
this moment in time when no right wingers.
Yeah, 100%. I think, I agree with Jam. I think his ceiling is so high. You have to give him time, lads. He's only young. It's getting to the point now when we talk about football or certain individuals, when they're not at it, he's young. It's a big step up. He was in and out of the team in the championship last season, wanted to be a proven player. We seen the celebrations that he loved it. He loved every minute of it. Even on the bus parade, it was the Largy Ramazani show. He was just buzzing. He was absolutely buzzing. He's young, and that's simply what it's down to. And new experience from being in Spain, he's probably just all over the place. And then these injuries are, we've seen it with Solomon last season. It's a kickback. And he obviously wants to prove himself, and not just for Leeds but for his career. And then obviously that chance of playing in Spain to try and.
There is a way back though, Dylan, because there's so many examples, and the one that comes to the top of my head is when you look at the likes of Jed Spence, who was, came with good credibility when he came to Leeds United. We thought we were getting a fantastic player on our hands. It obviously flopped from at Leeds United. Didn't get on with Daniel Farke for one reason or another. He's now at Tottenham Hotspurs now, and they love him there. He's had to get a call up for England as well. So there is a way back for any player, I believe. I 100% believe that there's always a way back, and there's all players have their different stories and their late bloomers, early bloomers. There's so many examples of it there. You look at Jamie Vardy coming from non-league, and there's so many different parts of it. So I wouldn't be quick to write him off. Absolutely not. I wouldn't, lads. But as Michael says there, look, there's no denying that he has got the technical ability. We seen him at the start of last season. I always remember away a card of how he lit it up there, and I don't think he can just lose that. And I think, look at form is temporary, class is permanent, and I just think he needs a right run at things. And I think probably the way the situation was probably his loan came about to move over to Valencia, I don't think looked great either, lads. I think it very much looked like he threw his toys out to Farke. Farke basically told him where to go, and he's gone over to Spain. And you could see on some of the pictures of him arriving in Spain, he didn't look like the happiest boys to be there either. And look at that's going to be massive to him as well, even though he's played out in Spain before. But yeah, as I said, lads, I hope he picks it back up. I hope it's just a bit of a bumpy start and he can kind of turn it around. Mateo Joseph, again, on the other hand, I try and catch up on most of the highlights on our on-loan players, and Mateo Joseph, for me, lads, has just been completely flopped, and he's one that I look at as well. It's a perfect example of the grass isn't always greener, because he was very much one that wanted to force the move out of the club, and it's not gone well from over in Spain either. So again, Jam, similar situation to Ramazani. We need these players to turn it around and not just go off the haha, I told you I was right sort of thing. We need them to turn around and perform.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly that. You can't, I get it. Like, why fans are turning around saying, "Oh yeah, you thought Ramazani was good." And I want every player for Leeds United to be good, lads. At the end of the day, I don't want any player to be like, "Oh yeah,
Charlie Cresswell there as well."
Proven right or proven wrong again. But yeah, Charlie Cresswell. Yeah, can't remember what I've lost my trail of thought now. I was going to say is right. I was talking about Joseph, but sorry, yeah, Joseph.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, Mallorca as well. Mallorca at bottom of the. I think they're pretty much bottom of the league, aren't they? In La Liga, or they need the bottom of the league.
Yeah, the bottom of the league, yeah.
So again, I'm not backing him, but I'm not defending him. But you've got to kind of his context to it again. There's 10 other players on that team, and I know Joseph hasn't impressed himself, but I think sometimes it's easy just to point the blame at one player, that's not performing. But I mean, the quality around him's got to be up there as well. That's just sort of just to back him a little bit. But again, considering he didn't want to participate in pre-season with us, I think that's a bit of a ballsy thing for him to do, considering he's gone there and completely flopped. So, it's
we all want the players to do well. It's all for the greater good for Leeds United, and we wish the boys nothing but the best. But at the end of the day, if you're forcing a move out like that, thinking that your ego is better than the club, and I'm not being negative here when I say that, I'm just saying it in in a way. Don't get me wrong. There's certain individuals like Joseph. Like, let's be honest with you, you've DCL, you've Pirro, and you've Meche. Potentially, he's going to be 4th choice. So, alone probably was the best thing for him, or to sell him on. But the way he done it.
Do you think the way that Fark spoke about him? I think we were out in Germany. Yeah, we were out in Germany at the time when he did that pre-match press conference. I think it was before the second game, and he spoke about Joseph, and he said that he obviously rates him very highly. He's a player that was like big in our plans, and I don't think obviously starting in our plans, but I do think Fark actually did look at the likes of Joseph, different than Ramazani, but looked at Joseph and said he's a player that could be very useful for us coming off the bench because again, he's a little bit of Pirro and DCL kind of mixed into one. He can hold up the ball, he can work the channels, he can in the box, he can score goals. And look, he definitely had to improve on them, but he was that type of player. So you could see under Fark, I think he would have been better off staying here, learning from the likes of DCL, learning from being in the Premier League, the best league in the world. Keep under Daniel Fark, keep going and keep pushing. And I think he just pulled the trigger too fast and obviously forced his long move. And you look at it now and you kind of think, does he come back to Leeds United with his tail between his legs? Because you're not really going to see on the performances that he's putting out now. You're not going to see Mallorca wanting to buy him. He's going to have to come back to Leeds United and face the music after some of his interviews after he went out on loan. Jack Harrison done the same thing as well. It's a little bit like, even if you don't want to be here right now, you don't know what's going to happen down the road. Brendan Aronson is the exact same thing as well. So it's more or less keep your mouth shut, get on with your football, and that's exactly what he's going to have to do now, lads, to try and pull it back, because then he comes back to Leeds United then with a little bit of, a black mark against him, trying to prove Daniel Farker or whatever coach is here at the time when he comes back to Leeds United, lads. So, yeah, perfect example that the grass isn't always greener.
I'm not defending him here, but we've seen it in the past. With him, even with the Willie Nanto situation, agents getting into their heads. I don't know what he told him. I don't know why he wanted to go there. With Mallorca being bottom of the league, and Darren, you hit the nail on the head there. Why wouldn't he want to stay here? And not just simply because we're in the Premier League, but for that kind of, training method, with DCL, Pirro. Yeah,
just experience.
Exactly. Just experience, yeah. And it's madness.
Still I think he wanted. I think he was already out to having this conversation. He wanted to move to Betis. Leeds basically, I think, have washed their hands of Betis, and then he'd nowhere else to go. He was at the run now of options, and then Mallorca came in, and he basically had to take, what was left. A little bit at the end of the night, you know what I mean? When you're out and there's nothing else left, and you have to take the 2 out of 10 in the corner home. I think that's happened to Matteo Jones, unfortunately. But look at
some analogy to use, doesn't
it? Sorry about that. But yeah, look, hopefully, obviously he picks it back up. We'll keep a close eye on him, and we'll obviously bring them up as the season goes on. So hopefully Ramazani can come back, get himself back into that Valencia side, and show what talent he has. The same with Matteo Jones as well, because he has to. His career's on the line here. We'll move on then to the last thing. Obviously, lads, no surprise, we've seen Sky changing 4 games for Leeds United in December. A massive December for Leeds United. Dylan, no real surprise there. We can go through the fixture there if you want. What sort of changes that we've had to them. Let me go into here.
Sky TV.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. That no surprise here. So the Chelsea game has been changed to the Wednesday night, December the 3rd, at 8:15 kickoff, lads, which is the randomest time for me. Like, why not 8:15? Why not 8 o'clock, 8:15 anyway at Elland Road. Leeds against Liverpool then on the Saturday, 6th of December, is a 5:30 kickoff, which would be tasty. Really, really good for anyone going to that. It's actually a cracking, just about coming into night time against Liverpool. Brentford then away from home on the Sunday at 4:30, which is obviously very poor for them Leeds United fans travelling down to London on a Sunday just before Christmas. 4:30 kick-off on a Sunday. Not great for that travelling support, travelling down to London. Then we have Crystal Palace at home then on the Sunday at 2 o'clock. So 4 game changes in December. No surprise, Jam. Leeds United are the cash cow as always.
Sky Sports Leeds. Again, strikes again, doesn't it? It's the fans I feel as well. That's the thing. It's the fans I feel for, because, if you think that logistically, like Brentford, was that like, I can't remember, was it 4:30? Was it 4 o'clock?
4:30 on the Sunday, yeah, just before Christmas.
4:30 on the Sunday, just before Christmas, and then
people
the
trying to
game
get back for
finishes
work.
late.
Yeah,
exactly. People trying to get back for work the next day and that kind of thing. And even the Chelsea one, lads, 8:15 on a Wednesday, like. It's just so random. At the end of the day, like, this is what they want. Leeds United, these other fans say that we're not relevant anymore. We clearly are, because Leeds United against Liverpool, that'll be a huge that'll be a great game. Leeds and Liverpool are always good games, so
Yeah.
always a lot of respect there. I
That's
think,
probably one I agree with,
you
that
know,
I look at. That looks like a good
yeah,
one on the Saturday halfway kickoff against Liverpool, Elland Road. Everyone will be buzzing. Sean Healy saying there in the chat that he has a ticket, so hopefully I'm fingers crossed it's the game. I'm looking at hoping to go over to it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
the rest of them like that. There's no real thought for the fans anymore, lads, whatsoever, isn't there? Not Dylan like that. That Brentford game on a Sunday coming up towards Christmas, horrendous for the travelling support. Just not nice at all, isn't it? Wednesday night against Chelsea, 8:15. You know, potential kids that go to the game, going to school the next morning, yourself going to work the next morning. Just no consideration for the football fans nowadays at all. Then it's all just money and that's it. No?
So to take it off, go on the rip.
Tell the boss I'm be sick on Thursday, especially if they win, you know. But like that, you want to, like on a Wednesday night, let's say same thing happens the last time we played Chelsea at Elland Road. Leeds go, they win 3-0. You want to, you know, go and celebrate after the game, have a couple of points with your mates. Do you know what I mean? And now all of a sudden then you have to jump in your car and go home, do you know what I mean? And you're off for work then the next day and not really kind of riding that wave of a big result in the Premier League against one of the big boys, lads. That's what kind of gripes me a little bit more. You kind of want to go back to the Peacock, couple of points with your mates and kind of enjoy the day and, you know, soak in the result and stuff like that, isn't it, lads?
I'm sick that day.
Just I might be as well. We'll see, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more fixture changes as always because we know we're Leeds United. We'll get you the last couple of the comments. Richard Hogan says 4:30 at Brentford is a really weird one. Yeah, poor on the fans. Feel sad for them on that one. Palace was always going to happen with the Conference League. Yeah, you can understand that, but maybe make it a little bit more flexible for the Leeds fans. And that's the attitude Dillo says. Marching on with Sean. But that is it, lads, for your Wednesday night broadcast. Thank you very much for everyone that did pop in. It is greatly appreciated. Daniel Farke's press conference is tomorrow at 1:30. And then our starting 11 show will be out tomorrow night at about 8:30. Myself and Dylan then will be back live on Friday night for your match preview ahead of Burnley. And then we'll be back down for our watch along on Saturday, player ratings. And we're back to the normal schedule as always. And then Jan will be back with us then on Sunday. I'm hoping, obviously, if the Baba is still sleeping and not keeping you up too late at night.
Always make time for you boys, don't worry.
So we will be back on Sunday then for talking points. Hopefully after seeing Leeds United beat Burnley. But that is it from us, guys. Before you leave the stream, please don't forget to drop a like on the video. And of course, if you're new here, we'd love you to hit that subscribe button. So mind yourselves, mind each other. Catch you in the next one.